This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming Adah Glassbourg. Adah did her one and only on-camera role in the Jim Carrey TV movie of the week in Canada, Rubberface. And Rubberface is it's a sweet little TV movie. I've talked to 3 people from it over the years: Helen Udy, Lynn Durrigan, and Marlo Lakovsky. It's about a she's not that heavy set. She's kind of out of shape girl in high school who is thinking about going into comedy, but yet she's fallen in love with a comedian. It's a sweet story, and her brother Michael Glassberg wrote it, and we're going to talk about it today, and I can't wait. Jim Carrey was only 19 when he made this. Nobody knew who he was yet. He wasn't even out in LA yet when he made this. He was still up in Canada performing at Yuck Yucks in Toronto, and it's going to be great. And now she works in the art and design business, and I'll find out a little bit more about that as well, and I can't wait. I'm so glad I could find her. And it's going to be a pretty, interesting conversation, I think. I love finding people who haven't been found in a while and having these great conversations because I'm so passionate. This is the next to last interview before New Year's Eve, and I can't wait. So yeah, here is my interview with Adah Glassbourg. Hey Adah, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. I'm fine. Yeah.
Oh, I can't tell you how thrilled I am. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
You're very welcome.
So, going back in time, it was your brother, right, who wrote Rubberface?
It was.
Yes. So, before that, had you gravitated toward acting before?
Boy, you're talking a lot of years ago, so I really, I had gone to art school, and I had also always danced, so I had the performer in me. I think I did a little bit of performing, and I was a closet actor, if that's possible. But
Yeah.
I hadn't done a lot. It wasn't like I felt like this was my métier.
It wasn't your niche?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I was attracted to performing, but I hadn't. I mean, I was still finding out what I wanted to do. It was still a period of discovery for me.
I see. Are you trained in all types of dancing?
Well, I mean, I've always loved to dance, so I did ballet when I was a kid, and then modern, and then when I moved to New York, I kind of fell in love with Haitian and Cuban sacred and secular dance and African dance and stuff. But that's a whole other story.
Not tap or ballet?
No tap.
I see. Were your parents in show business?
My mother was a pianist.
Mm-hmm.
So she grew up in a very musical family. There was music all the time in her family, and her father was involved in Jewish musical theater in Montreal, which was a pretty vibrant community at that time.
Nice. Yeah. Good old fashioned nepotism got you the part.
Well, I mean, other people supposedly. So I'm sure. I think nepotism definitely got me the interview, the trying out for the part, because I know that other people did. Unless they maybe figured they could pay me less or something like that. I don't know. but I did also know the filmmakers, so that there was certainly nepotism in there, I'm sure, because I wouldn't have been able to try out.
Yeah, so you had to go and audition in front of Salzman and Yates.
I did. I went and auditioned in front of Salzman and Yates, and I don't think I had ever auditioned for film before, so it was a new experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun.
Yeah, this was a TV movie in Canada, and it was originally called Introducing Janet. Where did the idea for this come from? Did your brother do stand-up?
My brother had done a lot of theater, and I think that that's what interested me in performing, because I saw him perform theater, but kind of he was part of a small traveling theater group, but they weren't typical, they weren't conventional, and they did a lot of interesting things, and he wrote interesting skits and stuff.
Right.
So he didn't do stand up, but he did performances that were humorous, but they were also kind of thoughtful.
Right.
But different than stand up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was 6 years before the Tom Hanks and Sally Field movie Punchline, but it borders on the same idea. And, I mean, Yuck Yucks in Toronto was getting popular by that point. Aside from Jim Carrey, there was a lot of great Canadian stand-ups that were there, like Wayne Fleming and Mike McDonald and Maurice LaMarche, and even Howie Mandel went up on stage for the first time there. The comedy scene in Canada was getting popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, it being about stand-up comedy was secondary to it being an after-school show geared toward, young teenagers who have identity problems with, and self-confidence issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of it that way, as an after-school special type. It kind of is. It kind of is.
Yeah, that's what it was made as.
Yeah. Did you personally go through, self-image problems like Janet was going through?
Well, I did when I had to gain 15 pounds for the film, because they wanted me. They said, you look too attractive, you have to gain some weight. So I really didn't like that. Well, but I mean, I think all girls go through self-image issues one way or another. I think that's very common. Yeah. I mean, it's different than it is now, I think, because of social media and all that stuff. But it's, it's imbued and has been imbued in the culture of the female culture and aspirations and, expectations of, what we should be, what we should look like, and always has. Although my mother was much more interested in art than, like, she wasn't focused. So I didn't get it from her, that focus on looks or stuff like that. But yeah. But I mean, in terms of what was your, like, identity issues, I mean, yeah, being a teenage girl is not an easy thing.
No.
And never has been, for one reason or another.
And I don't even think you were that heavy in this movie. I thought maybe, a little out of shape, but not like, heavy.
Yeah, no, because it was a last minute, ditch for, like, stuffing brownies into me because I wasn't gaining enough weight.
Yeah. You're my fourth guest from this. Lynn's been on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's such a great lady, and she's so good as your health conscious mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. She lectures you on eating 2 Danishes for breakfast. I can't get over how beautiful she was with that dark hair too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that's also part of the issue of girls with their mothers, who's prettier. You know, the girl is maybe thinking that the mother's prettier and like wanting to be like that, or who knows? Like I said, I really didn't have those kinds of issues with my mother. I didn't feel them. And frankly, even though in the film I wasn't, it wasn't emphasized, it was de-emphasized, but I always attracted attention. So it's not like I thought that I wasn't pretty.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were pretty.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I've also talked to Helen Udy, who played one of the girlfriends in high school.
Oh, that's right. I remember her. She was blonde, I think.
Yes, and she still is.
Yeah.
And she's still acting, and she's in L.A. now. And,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marla Lakovsky, she does her Wizard of Oz bit on stage.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. She went on before me or something on at one of the nightclubs.
Yes, she's hilarious, and she told me a sweet story about Jim Carrey. She saw him about 20 years after this was made, and she was somewhere in LA auditioning for something when she still lived out there, and like their eyes saw each other, and he gave her a great big hug. He was so happy to see her.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I mean, he was really young. He was 19.
Yeah.
He was a really sweet kid. Actually, I was just talking to my brother Michael today, and he wasn't an actor. He was a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
And they realized when they gave him lines like he was really bad, but he was a great mimic. So they would give him the lines and he would copy them.
Mm-hmm.
The way they would give him the lines the way they wanted to do it. But he was a sweet guy, but he was really difficult because he didn't, when you're in a scene and you and the camera's on you, you kind of need to work off of the person, the other actor, and he was blank because he wasn't used to that.
Right.
If the camera wasn't on him, he was completely blank. But he was really sweet.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
Because he started doing stand-up. He went up on stage at Yuck Yucks for the first time when he was 15, and he bombed so bad he didn't want to do it again. And then 2 years later at 17, he did. And then he stayed on stage, after that. And, yeah, he didn't know he was an actor. It's just something that kind of happened, I love the chemistry between you and Jim. The moments where you two are being funny together, like you're doing the Groucho walks, or trying on the funny hats. You put on that Russian hat, the mamushka.
Oh, the babushka. Yeah, babushka, something like that. Yeah.
Those are sweet moments. Yeah.
Yeah. There were sweet moments. My favorite scene in that film, which I was really happy with, the sound people felt that they screwed up on it. And so we had to do it in a sound booth. I had to redo it in a sound booth. It was me in, I think, the bedroom talking to myself, sort of in a reflective kind of way. And I was really happy when it was done on set. And then in the sound booth, I was reading the script, and it was an emotional scene anyway. So to kind of reproduce that was, was always challenging in a sound booth. But a huge centipede crawled across the script in the middle of the recording. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I didn't have the wherewithal to say, I got to do this again. I was completely distracted by this 3-inch centipede crawling across the script, as I'm spilling my guts about how terrible I feel about myself or whatever it was. So, yeah.
Now I can imagine between takes, Jim would go into his, celebrity icon impressions, just to make everyone laugh.
Frankly, I don't remember that.
Yeah, because
I don't remember that. I didn't feel. Yeah. I mean, I didn't remember between takes him sort of. I think there's so much going on between takes in terms of setting up and whatever that. But I don't. I personally, maybe others do, but I don't remember.
Yeah, because he moves out to L.A. probably a year later, and he starts doing Henry Fonda and On Golden Pond and Sammy Davis Jr. and Michael Landon and all these different icons on stage. He could just do their faces so perfectly.
Oh yeah, he's just like he's totally great at that. Absolutely.
How long did it take to film?
That's a good question. I mean, this was a long time ago. I don't remember.
I'm guessing probably 15 days, like most TV movies did.
Could be. Yeah, could be. I really have no recollection about duration in terms of how long it took. Yeah, I guess maybe a couple of weeks.
The part where you read your short story report and then storm out crying is such an effective scene, I have to say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How long ago did you see this? Because I haven't seen it for a really long time, so you probably remember it better than I do.
I've seen it 100 times, but I just watched it the other night for memory refresher.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, when he was huge, like when I was 12 or 13, they put this out on VHS, and of course they did what they always do. They make the box cover make it look like it's another Ace Ventura type of a movie, which it isn't. And they made it look like it, and I'll never forget the tagline. What was it? Big head, thick brain, numbskull.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. But just it's like when I look back on it now, it's like it's a terrible movie.
Well,
I mean, it would have disappeared into oblivion if it hadn't been for Jim Carrey and the fame that he grew into.
Well, it's like you said, it's an after school special type of a TV movie, and it's a sweet one, made at an innocent time in the world. I was going to say America, but this is Canadian, but still, I mean, even the Americans were doing TV movies like this back then. Yeah, but there's so many great moments in it. Like you have that audition scene with Harvey Atkins doing the director's voice.
Yes. Yeah. And me sitting there kind of like, kind of like impatient and fed up.
Yeah, like I don't want to go through this after all.
Yeah. Well, I think the character of Janet was being pushed into all kinds of things by her mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Which is another great reason why Lynn is such a great actress, the way she played it, and she's such a great lady. Like, I didn't even realize how loved she was until I had her on the podcast, and so many people recognized her from, oh God, what was that show called she was on in the 2000s? Was it Queer as Folk or one of those shows that she was on? Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, one of those shows in the 2000s. Yeah, like everybody knew her from that. I was just like, wow, it's the power of television.
Yeah, no, I remember her. I mean, I moved to New York like in the mid late 80s, so I didn't know that much that was going on kind of after with everybody after we did the film, but she was a delight to work with.
Yeah, because she had been in
sure.
She had been in David Cronenberg's Rabid, before.
Yeah.
Which is a horror movie.
I didn't know. I didn't know much about her as an actress, frankly.
Yeah, and Anne-Marie McDonald plays the other girlfriend of yours. She's had a career as an actress and a screenwriter.
Well, and she's written books. I mean, she was. I mean, she's very interesting. She went on to become quite the writer. I mean, I remember her like interacting with her on set. She was a super smart person.
Mm-hmm. What during the end credits, you two start singing that old blues tune, "Bright Lights, Big City." Whose idea was that?
Could be the writers. I'm not sure exactly. Actually, I'm not sure whose idea it was. Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's hilarious because I'm a blues aficionado. I don't talk about it as often on the podcast as I should because I haven't found too many other blues aficionados. But like I love the blues. It's been passed on down to me from my dad and stuff, and so that's always been hilarious to me that of all songs, it's "Bright Lights, Big City."
Oh yeah. And yeah, because it's a reference to New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting that I ended up moving to New York not that long afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Are you still in touch with Salzman and Yates?
So Rebecca Yates died so many years ago, sadly. And Glenn, yeah, I mean, not as close touch, but yeah. And as a matter of fact, I just got a holiday card from his daughter, and his daughter Zoe, his oldest daughter, was an infant when that film was made. Yeah, no, yeah. And he went on to make all kinds of television shows and stuff like that. Cineflix was successful.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking because I looked at his IMDb and I saw a lot of other stuff he had done.
Yeah.
So after that, you decide you're gonna set out what you originally set out to do was fine arts and design.
Yeah, I mean, after that, kind of, I've had a varied life. I went on in Toronto to do some live theater and performance stuff, but it was always kind of mixed with art a little bit. And then I kind of got imported to the U.S. by somebody that I met, and married and all that stuff. So I moved to New York City to be with him, and then I did actually do some studying of acting at what's it called? That famous school,
the Actor Studio
in New York.
The Actor Studio.
No, name another one.
HB.
Not the Actor. HB. Yeah. So I took classes there for a while. I did some commercial stuff, a little bit there. And then I started having kids, and then we moved up to Woodstock and, did other stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember who your classmates were?
I do not.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because IMDb is never complete. It says that Rubberface is your only credit, but you were doing commercials and stuff.
Yeah, I was doing some other stuff when I was in New York. Not anything big or I was always a reluctant actor. I remember auditioning for a bunch of stuff. Didn't get some stuff. I remember auditioning for some. I don't even know. And then. But you have to have an agent. I didn't have an agent at that time, so it was kind of like you just have to persist with it if you want to be in that business. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to stay in that business. So
I'm surprised you didn't get into doing improv comedy because you are pretty funny.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's funny. Huh. Yeah. Well,
And of course,
yeah, maybe I don't know. I did. Oh, where I did a great acting workshop and an improv workshop in Hudson, New York, with shit. Now I'm going to forget his name. He was in The Russians Are Coming. The Russian Alan
Arkin.
Alan Arkin. What
Yep.
an absolute darling he is. And he was, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I did a wonderful workshop with him, like a weekend or something like that. Oh, but wait. In Woodstock,
Mm-hmm.
we had, during the Bush years, we did for a year or two, we had every 2 weeks, it was filmed. It was this live show that was combined with interviews and skits and God, it's like, I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you about this. I would have kicked myself.
Yeah.
And skits and little videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was sort of politically based, and we had really interesting guests.
Uh-huh.
Sort of social comment. We had really interesting guests. And I wrote and acted in all these little videos that we did
Mm-hmm.
for this show, and it was on some sort of cable television network as well.
Uh-huh.
And then I had various characters. One of the characters I did was this Quebecois journalist, because the show was, had no money, or so we said. The only foreign correspondent we could afford was from Quebec, and her name was Marguerite Béliveau, and she was a chain-smoking, blonde, wigged character on this show, and I wrote the dialogue for her things, and then we did all kinds of. It was so much fun, and it was just such a we were this like group of hated Bush and hated what was going on politically, and a more liberal bunch of people, and so we decided to put this show together, and there were like. One of the people involved was Larry Beinhardt. He wrote the book that Wag the Dog was based on, and there were a bunch of, and then there were, so I did do acting actually afterwards. Come to think of it.
Wow. So you do this show. It's kind of a cable access show, and is it causing controversy?
Well, I mean, people really liked it. So we did it in front of a live audience at this place called The Colony in Woodstock.
Right.
And did it cause controversy? I think it did. Yeah. It, but I mean, it wasn't really big. It wasn't on like a major cable, a major network or anything. It would never be on.
Yeah.
But there were some real gems. Like some of the videos that we did were real gems. Some of the interviews, some of the live, and we did live music, and I mean, it was a real little point, like point in time that's gone now, but it was really fun. We had a good time doing that.
Yeah. Oh my God. So New York probably had the most controversial of all the cable access shows. Like Robin Bird, the porn star, she had that one cable access show where everyone was getting naked, and that went on for years until the city cracked down on it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were doing this in in Woodstock.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but there's a lot. Woodstock is a small town, but there's a lot that goes on here. It has a very important independent film festival that's been happening for almost 25 years.
Nice. So you never wanted to leave New York and go back to Canada?
Well, after a certain amount of time, you become rooted in a place, and so even though I miss family, it's not like I miss Canada in certain ways. Although I do miss the access to healthcare and stuff.
Yeah.
certain things, but and we'll see what happens the next election, because if if it really goes downhill, then I'd like to think that I could go back to Canada. But my home is here now. I have grown sons. I have a lot of friends that I've known for many years, and so my life is definitely here now.
Nice. Do you have anything upcoming?
Upcoming in terms of
your art or anything like that?
Well, let's see. I'm always kind of producing stuff, and but I don't. It's not like I have any shows at the moment happening. But yeah, not at the moment. I'm just getting back to some stuff.
Gonna sail into the new year with lots of hope and optimism, I see.
Well, hopefully, yeah, sort of optimism in a realistic kind of way. I mean, it's a crazy time right now in the world, so.
It is
the
craziest of my lifetime, I can tell you, and I'm only 40.
Right.
Super crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask you a lot of questions in terms of what do you think the trajectory, when you're my age now, in your 60s, what will that look like?
Yeah, I don't know. We can only, look forward to what's going to happen,
Yeah. So, I think the best that we can do is in our communities is be as gracious and generous and kind and as we can possibly be.
I totally
because
agree.
it's in our small worlds that we have the largest impact.
I totally agree, Adah. I totally agree. Real quick, we have to play my secret silly game. This is a series of silly slumber party questions. It's no win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question and I answer it. And then feel free to comment on the answers because they might be funny.
Okie doke.
Adah, are you ticklish?
Yes.
Exactly.
Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am so ticklish that if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Oh, can I embellish my one-word answer?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you tickle me, I get so angry. Like you can't. I'm not accountable for what I do because I'll get really pissed off.
Yeah.
because if I get tickled, I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And I feel like so don't tickle me.
Okay. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Let me check. It's an innie.
Love it.
Is your belly button, Tommy, an innie or an outie?
It is also an innie.
Okie dokie.
What color are your toenails painted?
My toenails are not painted at the moment at all.
Okay.
Tommy, what color are your toenails painted?
Later today, they will be painted gold with sparkles for New Year's. They were previously painted red, green, and white. I took them off yesterday.
Oh, really? Do you have a 5-year-old doing your pedicures?
No, just me. I've been painting my toes since I was 13.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. What would you say is your best personality trait?
My best personality trait. Okay, now can I? My best personality trait is, well, one of them, forgiveness.
Okay.
Is that a personality trait? It might not be.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
I think I have a few pretty good personality traits. Loyalty, ability to personal growth, an ability to have fun in and connect with people.
Uh,
And so, what are your traits that are positive?
Being that I'm a Gemini, I have empathy and I have no filter.
So no filter can go either way, and it's a positive thing. It's an attribute if you can make it work for yourself, and you clearly have made it work for yourself.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I do what I can. I mean, as I get older, I swear a lot less than I used to, but I still do it.
That's okay. That's not the only lack of filter.
If you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
Well, a school, because I believe in education, although I don't deserve to have a school named after me.
Okay. For me,
Yeah.
I'd like to have a vibrator named after me.
Oh, a vibrant. Okay, we're going that direction. I see.
And then,
Uh,
and then my favorite question is: there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
um, stinky feet.
Yes.
Stinky feet make me gag. Make me gag for sure. I'm super sensitive to smells.
Yeah, me too. I'm Italian on my mom's side. We are very sensitive to smell. My mom. Oh my God, her nose is so sensitive. Everything stinks to her. Like we can go anywhere and everything stinks to her.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, and she doesn't smell nice smells as well.
Oh, she does. She does, but just like she's just very sensitive. I mean, I can like be with her somewhere, and I don't even smell anything, but she does. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
interesting.
really? Yeah. No, I'm really sensitive. Like stinky feet. Nasty body odor.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, there are lots of smells that are sort of repugnant to me.
And then for me, it's
Yeah.
it's either farts or feet.
Oh, but you must like your own farts.
You know, it's funny. Not really.
That's interesting because most people do
Yeah.
have a much greater tolerance for their own than others.
Yeah, I know. I had a guest once. Sadly, she's no longer with us. She was a very talented actress, and she told me she actually didn't mind the smell of her own farts, and I just thought that was so hilarious.
Well, I don't either. I think it's just like that with, your own stuff. It's like when kids are little and they're so proud of their, that they take a poo and they're dying to show you their poo.
Yeah. So what was the name of your cable access show again?
It was called In Your Face.
In Your Face. Okay, I am going to see if anyone has uploaded and at least clips of that on YouTube because I am so intrigued to find it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a little, there might be a few things. I mean, this was before everything was on the internet.
Right.
So there's all these, a couple of people are kind of hoarding these, the CDs of them, which I've been trying to get my hands on them because they should all be divvied up between all of us and stuff. But that's a whole other story because, the politics between groups of performers could be quite intense.
They can be. Oh God, the stories I have heard.
Yeah. So, but I would like to get my hands on some. One of the videos we did was this.
Mm-hmm.
It was all improvised, but it was great. The other actress and myself. So we were cleaning. We were like a Ukrainian cleaning ladies in Bush's office.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just an improvised video of that, but it was very funny. And then there was also another video of the wives like Bush, Cheney,
Yeah.
his cabinet there, and the wives, and then we were having a sleepover together. So that was another video. And then another one, I wrote, this one was these two little children, these two little girls are playing dolls. I'm the mother in the video. And, that one you can access on YouTube. It's called Playdate.
Okay.
And these two little girls, are playing dolls very innocently. And as soon as their mother is out of the picture, they talk politics. They're like grown up, questioning what's going to happen in their future.
Yeah.
And as soon as their mother comes in, they act like little girls again because they don't want to scare their parents about, what they're talking about.
Oh, I am definitely going to go check that out. Adah, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope you had a great time and that you were comfortable. And I'm glad that you're doing what you love still and that you have a happy new year. And be safe out there. And I'll see you on Facebook.
You too. Okay, thanks for reaching out.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Adah Glassbourg. Frank is her new married name. What a sweetheart, huh? I'm so glad we could have that conversation. I mean, she was so awesome in that role in Rubberface, the role of Janet. Go check it out on YouTube. It's a nice little after-school special type TV movie about the stand-up comedy boom in Canada. Go check it out. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.